I read quite a few October 2025 romance book releases so far, and something magical actually happened. A lot of these books felt like the romances that I fell in love with back in the 2010s. That nostalgic, can't put it down energy that made me a romance reader in the first place, a lot of these books have that. So out of all of those, only 5 made my actually recommend list, and I'm sharing those here with you today. The thing is, the range is wild. So we're gonna go from Primal Play in the Woods to Regency ballrooms, from vigilante justice to vampire therapy, spice levels from 0 to absolutely unhinged. So whether you want your romance clean enough for your book club or spicy enough to require a cold shower, I've got you covered here today. So let's get into it. The first book is Willing Prey by Ali Oleander. This is erotic romance and came out October 7th. So we're gonna start strong with one of the spiciest books on this list. This definitely gave me peak 2010s erotic romance vibes, so think like 50 Shades of Grey era, but make it Primal Play in the actual woods. So here's the setup for the book. Claire is a divorced PE teacher drowning in student loans, and Shane is a corporate lawyer who wants to explore his primal desires. The deal here is a contract, 30 days as his prey in the woods for $30,000. Now, I have read Primal Play before, way back in the day, but also recently in books like Caught Up by Navessa Allen, where there was a chase scene through an arcade. But this is the most literal Primal Play book that I have ever encountered. He is literally hunting her through the forest for 30 days. That is the entire premise of this book. Now, what made this one work for me is that the consent, first of all, is crystal clear from page 1. Claire has done this before. She's not some innocent virgin that's discovering she actually likes this thing. She's in it, sure, for the money, and also because she genuinely enjoys it. So that removed any ick factor and any problems with consent for me. But here's where it gets actually good. Shane has tried this with other women and it's never worked. But the second he's in the woods with Claire, he realizes that she is what he's been searching for. And there's even this moment later in the book where he's researching other kinks to try to figure out what other things he's into. He's completely uninterested, but the second that he imagines doing those things with her, he wants everything. So he's actually not just kinky, but he's kinky for her. The emotional realization hits him harder than the physical attraction. There's a scene with his brother where Shane is actually more shaken about catching feelings than the fact that he's been hunting women through the woods, and his brother is just still shocked about the hunting. But I really loved how Shane is actually terrified of love. Spice-wise, this is a solid 3 to 4 out of 5. The first half is intensely physical. The second half brings more of the emotions in the plot, and I think the balance could have been slightly better, but I think it definitely worked. Now, this is an erotic romance. It's not just smut, so there is a real story here. Now, who should skip this book? If you're not into Primal Play, that is not your thing, then this book is not for you. There are no CNC vibes. Everything is consensual, but he is chasing her, catching her, and using her. She loves every second of it, but if that premise makes you a little uncomfortable, then it's best to move along. But if you've been craving that nostalgic erotic romance energy with the taboo kink that is done right, this is for sure an October must-read. The next book is Rage by Nia Mist. This is a dark romance. It also came out October 3rd, and it's a vigilante story, but with a twist. And it was everything that I didn't even know I needed. So the setup here is that Dominic's sister, Dominic being the hero, was assaulted 4 months ago. The cops closed the case, private detectives gave up, so he hires the Wildcats. Now, the Wildcats are a group of 5 vigilante women who maim, torture, and kill on behalf of their clients. So our heroine Samara comes in, codenamed Crimson Tiger. She is the fighter of the group, no regrets and no guilt. She vows to find his sister's attackers, but Dominic wants to work together. As you can expect, she prefers to work alone. So this book is actually marketed as female rage, and yes, you absolutely get to live vicariously through Samara's violence, which I loved, but what surprised me is also how emotionally deep it goes. Samara is a certified badass, no question, but she's also deeply insecure in ways that made her so real to me. And Dominic, now he is not your typical alpha billionaire. Yes, he's an alpha, and yes, he's a billionaire, and yes, he wants to protect her, but he is also in awe of her. He doesn't try to dim her flames. He goes toe-to-toe with her. He matches her energy, but he also really lets her shine. When it comes to sex, though, he absolutely dominates her, and that was perfect balance. The Wildcats have a strong found family presence. You meet all 5 women, you see all their quirks, you feel their trauma bonded connection. They tease Samara about the romance, and then you're left desperate for their stories. I cannot wait, but the romance is still the main event here. The spice level for this one is more of a 4 to 5 out of 5. Loved it. And here's the thing, the violence and the spice sometimes go hand in hand. So Dominic may get turned on when she's covered in someone's blood or when she's in protective bear mode. So if that is not your vibe, you may want to check the trigger warnings. Speaking of content warnings, there's discussion of sexual assault, on-page violence, the heroine gets shot, unaliving happens. So this is a true dark romance in that sense, and it really earns that label. But if you want a heroine who's allowed to be violent and vulnerable for good reason, a hero who worships her strength, and a romance that doesn't shy away from the darkness, then I think Rage is definitely one that delivers. The third book is The Death-Made Prince by Lisette Marshall. This is a fantasy romance, the first in a new series, and it comes out October 21st. So we're definitely switching gears here completely. This is an again, enemies to lovers, fantasy romance with necromancy, rune magic, and the most delicious slow burn. Our heroine Thraga is a rune witch sentenced to the gallows for killing her lover Lark's murderers. The night before her execution, a necromancer gets thrown into her cell, and he decides to escape. So escaping with him is her only chance to bring Lark, her ex, back to life. But here's the problem. Her new ally, Derlin Aver, is a fire mage, a rogue prince, a sharp-tongued nightmare, and the son of the man who killed her mother. He's everything she hates, and he won't revive Lark unless she helps him free his sister from an enemy king's dungeon first. So they have to work together. Now, I knew from page 1 that Lark was not going to be the end game here, and Thraga seemed so sheltered to me, and I was convinced that she had a completely skewed view of the world. Watching her start to realize that was perfect. Now, Derlin, on the other hand, is sarcastic, hilarious. There's this scene where they are breaking out of the prison, and Thraga is looking for her knives. She has OCD, and she literally cannot leave without finding every single one, even though jailers are pounding on the door, and then Derlin is saying to her, do let me know if you'd like another 2 hours to catch your breath, because I like to plan ahead. Of course, she tells him to go to hell, and he responds, well, I tend to come back from there. He had so many good comebacks in this book that I absolutely loved him. Sarcasm was top tier. Now, also, let's talk about the OCD rep, because it is done so well, I think, in my opinion. Thraga has compulsions that can be debilitating in high-stress moments. She's oblivious to danger until every knife is in the right position. It's not just quirky, it's real, and it actually affects her survival. Derlin is more of the morally gray hero in the best way, though. He's got darkness within and around him, but he does bad things for good reasons, and I think it really softens his character. The sarcasm helps too. I really love that. And the best part is that he wants Thraga to shine on her own, to prove to herself that she is capable instead of depending on him, the way she actually did with Lark. There's a line where he says that she is entirely her own instead of saying she's mine, and it absolutely wrecked me. The spice level on this one, I would say, is more of a 2 out of 5. It's a gradual build, it's a slow burn. I definitely think it's done right, but here's the warning. This ends on a major cliffhanger. So if you hate waiting for the next book, maybe you may want to hold off on reading this until closer to that. But I definitely think it's so worth it for you to read it, especially if you love Norse mythology inspired fantasy with that enemies to lovers and just incredible banter. This is definitely one worth reading. Next up is Undead and Unwed by Sam Cheetah. This is an urban fantasy with romantic elements, definitely Hallmark level, and it's out October 28. I think if you loved Mary Janice Davidson's Queen Betsy series or Molly Harper's Jane Jameson series, you need to stop everything and pre-order this book. It's definitely urban fantasy first, romance second, so it's not a true paranormal romance, but it can work as a paranormal romance. So we have Tiffany, our heroine. She's a 300-year-old vampire who is still a hot mess. She works at a blood bank, marathons Hallmark movies with her cat, and is tragically single. Then she inherits a fixer-upper in Valentine, Vermont, thanks to a stolen identity, and she decides that this is her chance to live out her holiday rom-com dreams. But before going there, she accidentally turns her neighbor into a vampire and has to bring her along, and her insufferable ex-boyfriend Vlad also shows up, plus there's a ton of small town drama that spirals out of control after she's there. Now, the humor in this book is absolutely everything. Tiffany nails Vlad shut into his coffin, immediately regrets it because her newly turned vampire roommate attacks a city inspector. There's a scene where all the animals are freaking out around her, because she's a vampire. Horses are going crazy, and everyone thinks it's because of this animal that she said attacked the inspector. And at a bachelor auction, she's trying to bid on her Christmas tree farmer neighbor because they kind of have a thing going, but Vlad keeps outbidding her every single time just to mess with her so she can't be with him. It is absolutely top tier funny. Speaking of the Christmas tree farmer, though, he's definitely golden retriever energy, sweet, lovely, all the things, but I was not rooting for him at all at any time. It was Vlad always for me. The farmer just existed to make Vlad finally make a move, and it works beautifully. Now, the spice level on this one is definitely Hallmark, cozy vampire comedy with kissing, but what surprised me the most was seeing a 300-year-old character who still hasn't gotten her life together. That is the emotional core of the story, Tiffany's messy journey of self-acceptance. Also, it's never too late to start therapy, even if you're an immortal, and we get to see that in this book. So if you want a laugh-out-loud urban fantasy with found family, with holiday vibes, and a vampire who's just trying her best, this is going to be your October comfort read, and perfect to transition from the paranormal and Halloween kind of books to the holidays. And the last book that I have for you guys here is Sense and Suitability by Pepper Basham. This is a historical romance with no spice, it's closed door, and it's out October 14th. Definitely something completely different from the other books on this list, but it earned its spot because of one thing: the characters. This is definitely a character-driven Regency romance at its finest. We have Emmeline Lockhart, who is a secret author who's sworn off love after Simon Reeves vanished from her life without any explanation. So then 2 failed seasons later, she just wants to survive with her dignity intact, and she's got her own money from her writing. But now Simon is back. His estate is in shambles, his family fortune was gambled away, and his younger siblings are running wild, so he needs a wealthy bride. Emmeline doesn't fit that role, but she can be his friend. just a friend. So she'll help him find a suitable match and keep things strictly platonic. Except that the chemistry between them is still there, it's undeniable. Now, this one really worked for me even without the spice because you are rooting for both of them from page one. Simon betrayed her, yes, but you learn his reasons early on. They make sense, you feel for him. At the same time, you also feel for Emmeline and what she's gone through. She is lovable, she's witty, she's trying so hard to protect her heart, and the tension that comes from watching them try to figure all of this out and their feelings as they go along, it is the most delicious part, that slow realization that maybe they are in fact meant to be together after all. Now, Simon also has some younger siblings that he's a guardian to, and they are delightfully rambunctious side characters. There's also a frog named Blast, and all of that adds a lot of charm to the story without overtaking it. The banter is pure Austen. Also, I think Simon gives vibes of like Anthony Bridgerton, and Emmeline I think is like a mix of Penelope and Eloise. So if you love Bridgerton or any Austen adaptation, I think you'll really adore this one. Now, there is kissing, but it stays closed door, and honestly, it doesn't need more than that. The emotional connection really carries this book completely. Now, who is this perfect for? I think if you're craving a closed door romance that doesn't feel like it's missing something, if you love Austen-inspired historicals, if Bridgerton is your comfort watch, this is proof that you don't need spice to have a totally swoon-worthy romance. So those are my top 5 October releases. From feral forest hunts to Regency ballrooms, we've covered the full romance spectrum today. So if you want more details on any of these books and my full reviews, plus I've got even more books to talk about, I've got a whole blog post on underthecoversbookblog.com, so I'm going to leave that linked in the description box down below. I've got everything detailed on there so you can check it all out. But now, real talk, which one of these are you going to be adding to your TBR? Are you more of a team Primal play in the woods, vigilante justice, sarcastic necromancer, or maybe some vampire therapy, or a closed door Regency one? So drop me a comment and let me know, because I'm dying to know which direction you're leaning. And here's the thing about all of these October releases, they really reminded me why I fell in love with romance in the first place. That 2010s energy where every book felt like just an event with amazing characters. I think these 5 books really brought that back for me. Now, if you're new here, I'm Francesca, and here at Under the Covers, we talk about romance, fantasy, mystery, and kind of like everything in between. So if you want more book cracks like this, hit the subscribe button. We post new videos every single week. And seriously, go check out the blog for the full reviews and all of the details and even more book recommendations for October. So I'll leave that down below. But for now, that's all for today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!